speaking of cats, herding cats is what it's like, I'm sure, for Congressman Tom Emmer, the House Majority Whip. Congressman, really pleased that you have time for us today on what must be a very busy day. Welcome to Hot Talk, sir.
Good to be with you, Ox. I'm glad. I want to be home soon because I understand we're making ice again. Favorite time of the year.
Making ice. Yep, that's a fact. But man, so you're whipping it up, getting the votes together. Great that you have time for us today. I sense a skip in your step. You seem to be happy about what's going on here.
I am. I mean, what this has been so ridiculous, right? Over 40 days, Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats shut down our government. I mean, they caused so much pain on Americans. I mean, just look at Minnesota, Ox. 400,000 SNAP recipients were impacted. 100,000 women, infants, and children who rely on the WIC program were impacted. Head Start programs were impacted. The Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport had major issues over the past weekend, and across the nation, small businesses that actually contract with the federal government, that have contracts with the federal government, lost more than $12 billion.
Wow.
$12 billion. That impacts us in Minnesota, too. And what's most amazing, right? First, you got 8 Senate Democrats that finally came to their senses to put the American people before their politics, and they voted to reopen the government and move it forward. But, Ox, it's the exact same clean continuing resolution that the House passed on September 19th. The only change on the CR is that they extended it to January 30th. And then they included 3 appropriations bills that were basically done when we passed the September 19th CR. So, I mean, I don't know why the American people had to suffer through this, and I know that they are going to figure out who did it to them.
Yeah, I hope so, because it's very clear. Senator Ron Johnson had been working and has been working over the years to try to put together some sort of a bill that prevents this sort of thing from happening in the future. Were any of those provisions in this deal that came from the Senate, like you can't do the mass firings anymore or something like that?
No, the only thing that's pretty standard, the only thing that is in it is the government employees who were furloughed are going to come back to work, and they will be paid. They will get their back pay. So, you know, you've got all these different, Capitol Police. You've got staff people. They will all get their back pay to the 40 days. So that's pretty standard, Ox, and it's actually a law that was passed in 2019 that requires it. So, no, the president, I talked to him last Thursday. I had lunch with him, and we were talking about he's not going to bring back the people that they fired. They were unnecessary. Otherwise, they'd still be there.
Oh.
So they're not coming back.
Okay. So some of the Russ Vogt stuff will stick.
All of the stuff that they've done is sticking. I mean, it's you're basically dealing with, and this is what Democrats wanted, right? They claim it's about health care, and yet it really isn't about health care. And they'll do that again today, which I'd love to blow up that myth with you. But then they claim it's about, we want to reinstate all of these federal employees. I mean, it's like they're advocating for the waste, fraud, and abuse that Donald Trump has eliminated. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that was passed, I mean, by the will of the people, right? The people elect the representatives and senators. They'd go through the regular process, craft the bill, debate the bill, pass the bill, and then the Democrats try to hijack it and go against the will of the American people, shutting down the government. Ridiculous. Fetterman sounded like a rational, normal guy on this whole deal.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into that, but the poor guy's had some health challenges that apparently they've had an impact on him because he's thinking very clearly right now, and it's good to have a voice like that over there. But at the end of the day, these guys, I've had enough of being nice about it. I think we just got to be honest about it. And if that means we're being a little too hard-hitting, so be it. This nonsense about these enhanced tax credits, Ox, you've got it's the Affordable Care Act voted on by Democrats only. I expect this. I expect this weak-kneed leader, quote unquote, in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, tonight, to make this big stand about health care crisis created by Republicans. Somebody ought to remind this New Yorker who took a knee to a Marxist, communist, anti-Semite mayor. Somebody might remind him that, Hakeem, you and your colleagues created something called the Affordable Care Act, which has been totally unaffordable. It has increased prices in the healthcare industry for families by almost 100% since Democrats only voted for that nonsense. And they tried to distract us by calling it Obamacare, putting it with a person. The name of the bill was the Affordable Care Act. It has made health care unaffordable for the average American in this country. Right now, we're looking at 30% increases in premiums. Ox, if we did what they're asking us to do, which is take their temporary enhanced tax credits, premium tax credits, and extended them for a year, you know how much of that 30% would be impacted? About 5%.
Wow.
This is the law that is creating the crisis, and it's time for Republicans to reform the law, give people more choices, create more competition, more transparency. These ideas have been out there forever, and their time has come. We got to make sure that all Americans have access to the greatest health care at an affordable price, and that's what Donald Trump's promise was. That's why he was elected, and Republicans were elected with him, and we will get this done. Well,
and the Democrats, thanks to them, we've lost basically 2 full months of negotiation to make that happen exactly in this crunch time before the premiums all go up in January. What do you see coming out of these discussions to try to give them what they want?
Well, we're not giving them what they want. What they want is exactly what Biden and these Democrats did to the country in the last 4 years. Remember what they did. They came into office and they passed something called the American Rescue Plan. Do you remember that, Ox? It was a $2 trillion spending bill. They were warned. Economists have called this the original sin because it is what drove double-digit inflation that we had not seen in this country in decades, in like 40 years. And these guys, they were responsible for it. This is why Donald Trump was elected, to fix the economy, which is what he has inherited, is this broken Biden economy. Guess what? Gas prices were at a 5-year low this past week. You've got grocery prices. I saw even that worthless newspaper, so-called newspaper, in Minneapolis had a thing about how Target or some of these others are slashing egg prices and milk prices. Look, Trump has been fixing the economy. And what do these guys want to do again? They want to spend another $1.5 trillion, Ox.
That's all they know.
It's the same thing they did to put this country in the ditch under Biden. They want to keep doing it. They just will not learn.
So is there a proposal? Is there an idea then moving forward that can be so quick that it might give a respite to some of these big prices that are going to increase January 1st for so many people?
Again, you got to put competition back in the marketplace.
Amen.
Stop sending big fat checks to health insurance companies. They're the only ones that are winning off this deal. That money should go directly to Americans, which is what Trump has talked about. You're going to have to create high-risk pools again. You know, just go back where Minnesota was before this failed unaffordable Care Act. We literally based the healthy individuals were able to be in a pool, and you could have competition, insurance competition, that is, for different insurance products within that healthy market, right? You could do that risk assessment. Then we had a high-risk pool because anybody who knows healthcare understands that a small part of the population consumes the majority of the healthcare because they need it. We had ways of addressing that by supplementing that population instead of doing what the Affordable Care Act did, which is totally upending the risk analysis by putting all of them together and saying the healthy people are going to be paying for the people that need more health care. instead of dealing with the people who need more health care and allowing healthy people to actually have competition in their marketplace as well. So there's different pooling options that have been out there, right, for small businesses. There's all kinds of ideas. First things first, though, Ox, you got to open the government. You got to pass these first 3 appropriations bills. I understand there's another 3 to 6 that are ready to go very quickly. You're going to have to fund the government. And as we get towards the end of the year, the truth needs to be told about the Affordable Care Act being the Unaffordable Care Act. And it's time. It's time for Donald Trump and Republicans to fix what these Democrats have broken.
Amen to that. Final thought, Congressman, if I can, our mutual friend Sean Duffy talking about these, these airline cancellations, et cetera. Pretty dire words today. Even if the government reopens, they're not in a good spot to maintain full airline traffic. What can be done in a quick, short time to try to fix that?
Well, you got to open the government. Number one,
right.
That should happen tonight or tomorrow. But I think what Sean was very good. He by the way, he's been fantastic. Whoever would have guessed that Secretary Sean Duffy would be? Could you imagine if Pete Buttigieg was still in that position?
Right.
You wouldn't be getting any of this communication. You wouldn't be getting any of this the solutions. As an American, I think I feel more comfortable, despite all the problems the Democrats have caused with our air traffic. I feel more comfortable with a guy like Sean Duffy telling me, you know what, we're going to cancel or delay flights because our number one thing is making sure that if you go from here to there, you're safe. Mm-hmm. We're going to make sure everybody's safe. And what he was saying this morning is, yes, you reopen the government, everybody's going to come back to work, but that doesn't mean the problem is solved instantaneously. You're literally going to have to work back to it. He said they're going to cancel or reduce the airspace by another 8%, I think it is today, and perhaps another 10% tomorrow going into the weekend, because they got to get people back to work and they got to get up and running. Hopefully within the next week, assuming this is open tonight or tomorrow morning, hopefully within the next week we start to see a return to normalcy when it comes to air travel.
Votes when, Tom? When's the vote scheduled?
Well, we're supposed to be voting on the procedural part of it sometime between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern, so 3:30 to 4:30 your time, Ox. But it just depends. We've got members who are coming from all over the country, and they have the same travel challenges that every American has right now. So it'll depend on when we have everybody here, because we understand that the House Democrats, and I want to see Angie Craig do this yet again, they're going to vote no. They don't want to reopen the government. They're all going to vote no, so we got to get all our members back here. Assuming they were all here, we'd vote at that time this afternoon. Then about an hour or two later, we'd vote on the actual bill. Okay. But keep in mind, the worthless minority leader may actually, because he's been so not relevant for the last 40-some days, he's going to try and make himself relevant tonight, I think, and he'll start his magic minute where he'll just complain about, he'll lie, he'll gaslight the American people yet again on what he claims is a Republican health care crisis, when in fact he and his party are the ones that are directly responsible, not only for the health care crisis, but for the dire situation the country is in right now because of their shutdown. Objective truth, both of those, Congressman Emmer. No spin. Yes. That's an absolute objective truth. Well, Congressman, thanks, and good luck on the whipping. Any thoughts that you're not going to have anybody go south on you? No, we're gonna pass this thing. Okay. All right, man. Well, let's get back to work. That's what we do, Ox. Thank you That's what we do. So much for all your time on this very busy day for you, sir. Thanks for being on Hot Talk with the Ox. Great to be with you, Ox. Always a pleasure. There you have it. Congressman Tom Emmer, the man getting it all done to reopen the government, on Hot Talk with the Ox.